up next, a troubled boy rises above his problems. Jay Underwood stars as the boy who could fly, followed by the best from the Nelsons in the best of Ozzie and Harriet. Then Lesley Ann Warren stars in Rodgers and Hammerstein's musical classic, Cinderella. It's all coming up tonight on the Disney Channel.
Thanks, Joey. And now...
The Disney Channel presents an adventure for the whole family.
So you need me to fly that thing?
An adventure that's out of this world.
Now just get out of the ship, son.
An adventure that takes you on the ride of a lifetime.
You wouldn't happen to know the way to Fort Lauderdale, would you?
Take off with the exclusive television premiere of Disney's Flight of the Navigator.
The following presentation is closed caption for the hearing impaired.
The following feature is a wonderful fantasy film about a boy who has special magical powers that allow him to fly. But as we all know, people can't really fly. So please don't try any of the stunts performed in this movie. And now, sit back and enjoy the magical fantasy of the boy who could fly.
In this video, we watched a few minutes from a typical break on the Disney Channel in 1987. Included was a bumper highlighting the evening program schedule, a Disney Channel Mickey Hands ID, a promo for the film Flight of the Navigator, the Disney Channel feature presentation intro, and a disclaimer for the film The Boy Who Could Fly. This break shows us what evenings were like on the Disney Channel in 1987. It was a time the channel described as family programming, and the content showed during this time period often included feature films targeted at both kids and adults, older shows like Ozzie and Harriet that appealed more to the adults who remembered watching the show when they were younger, and old musicals like the 1965 TV movie Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella starring Lesley Ann Warren. It's important to note that this version of Cinderella was not the classic animated Disney film. In fact, during the early years of the Disney Channel, they weren't allowed to show most of the classic Disney animated films because the film division didn't want those films marginalized by being shown on cable. In the early 1980s, Disney was still re-releasing those old classic animated films in theaters every 7 years. In the video, we also saw one of the Mickey Hands IDs that was popular on the channel at the time. In this one, the familiar lines that make up the background of the Disney Channel logo become window blinds when Mickey's hand reaches up and pulls a cord shutting those blinds to reveal the Disney Channel logo. After that, we saw a promo for the Disney film Flight of the Navigator as it was advertised on the Disney Channel in 1987. Flight of the Navigator was released in 1986, and it shows how Disney could fast-track a film they own the distribution rights to onto their own cable channel. Interestingly, Flight of the Navigator was not made by Disney. It was made by a company called Producers Sales Organization. It was originally a Disney project started in 1984, but at the time, Disney couldn't produce it, probably because of all the upheaval at the company. Instead, Producers Sales Organization made the film with Disney retaining North American distribution rights. The film was shot in Miami, Florida, and Norway. Next, we saw the intro for the Disney Channel feature presentation, which was essentially just the Disney Channel logo with the words feature presentation beneath, and a film of fireworks in the background. It's a very inexpensive and clever way to do an intro since fireworks are so closely associated with the Disney theme parks. And finally, we saw the most interesting part of this video, a disclaimer that ran before the film, The Boy Who Could Fly, warning kids that people can't really fly. I'm sure this was to make sure kids didn't try to jump off roofs and fly after watching the movie. I remember watching the Disney Channel back when this ran in 1987. I wasn't a fan of all of their programming at the time, but it was still a good place to see older Disney movies and even some newer ones like Flight of the Navigator. When this video was recorded, the Disney Channel was just 4 years old, and I think it was still finding itself. It was a paid channel back then like HBO, and in many ways it acted like it, with things like special concert presentations and other original programming. I think back then they really compared themselves to HBO, thinking that they were like a family-friendly version of HBO. It wasn't until 1995 that they decided to make the channel available as a regular cable channel, usually only available on more expensive cable tiers, and that process took years as cable providers were the ones who ultimately decided whether to offer the channel as a pay or regular channel. Well, those are my comments for this video. If you like these retro videos, please subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up, click the notification bell, and leave a comment. All these things really help the channel. Keep watching for more retro videos like this and other retro-themed videos. Take care of yourself and look out for others. Talk to you later. Bye.
This video brought to you by StockAgogo.com, Stock Photos.